Good morning from Fast Company. Here's our daily look into what's driving today's creative business leaders. As a leadership advisor, I have worked with countless executives who wrestle with failure, some fearing it to the point of paralysis, others glorifying it without extracting real lessons. Failure is inevitable. Growth is optional. The difference between leaders who thrive and those who stagnate isn't the absence of failure, it's how they respond to it. Fear of failure holds many organizations back, stifling creativity, slowing innovation, and fostering a culture of risk aversion. But failure, when embraced correctly, is one of the most powerful catalysts for growth. The problem? Too many leaders either avoid failure altogether or celebrate it without reflection. The key is courageous failure, the kind that fuels insight, builds resilience, and sets the stage for transformative breakthroughs. Why leaders fear failure? Despite the lip service given to failing fast, many leaders still operate in fear of mistakes. The reasons are clear: ego and identity. Leaders often tie their worth to their success, making failure feel deeply personal. When setbacks occur, they don't just see it as a professional challenge, but as a reflection of their own competence and value. Cultural stigma. Organizations reward wins, but often penalize failure, even when it leads to progress. This creates an environment where employees become risk-averse, opting for predictable outcomes over bold innovation. Short-term pressures. Quarterly earnings, investor expectations, and performance metrics discourage experimentation. Leaders feel the pressure to deliver immediate results, making it difficult to justify long-term bets that may initially appear as failures. Psychological safety issues. When failure is punished rather than examined, employees hide mistakes instead of learning from them. This lack of psychological safety stifles open communication, preventing valuable lessons from emerging and limiting the organization's ability to adapt. When fear dominates, organizations fall into a risk-averse cycle, defaulting to safe decisions, missing opportunities, and becoming stagnant. The courageous failure framework. Not all failures are created equal. Reckless failures, failures due to negligence, lack of preparation, or poor execution should be avoided. But courageous failures, those that come from thoughtful experimentation, calculated risks, and boundary-pushing innovation, are the seeds of progress. Leaders who want to leverage failure must foster an environment where learning is valued more than perfection. Here's how. Define what good failure looks like. Not all failures are worth celebrating. A good failure is one that teaches something valuable, aligns with strategic goals, and moves the organization forward. Clearly define the difference between reckless mistakes and courageous failures. Reframe failure as data. Instead of seeing failure as a dead end, treat it as an information-gathering exercise. Amazon's Fire phone flopped, but the underlying technology led to Alexa's development, one of the most successful innovations. Encourage micro-failures. Instead of placing massive bets that can sink an initiative, create low-risk experiments to test ideas before scaling. This approach minimizes danger while maximizing insights. Normalize transparent debriefs. Establish post-failure debrief rituals that focus on what was learned, not who was to blame. Bridgewater Associates, for example, operates with radical transparency, analyzing mistakes openly to prevent them from repeating. Publicly recognize productive failures. If employees only see success being rewarded, they'll avoid risk. Celebrate well-intentioned failures that led to key learnings, just as you would a big win. Lessons from leaders who failed forward. When Sarah Blakely started Spanx, she made countless mistakes in manufacturing and marketing, but saw each misstep as a part of the process. She credits her father for encouraging her to talk about what she failed at each day, instilling a mindset of resilience and growth. Another great example is Oprah Winfrey, who, when she was fired from her first TV job, used the setback to refine her approach and ultimately built one of the most influential media empires in history. Companies that fear failure more than stagnation are already losing ground. The leaders who fail forward faster, learning, iterating, and growing, will define the future. So before your next big decision, ask yourself, am I playing it safe to avoid failure, or am I willing to take a calculated risk that could lead to something extraordinary? Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the bridge to it. The only real mistake is not learning from the ones you make along the way.
That's all today from Fast Company. Talk to you tomorrow.
Spoken Layer.